Hi, everybody. Welcome to City Girls Pod. And this is a show where we are recapping Sex in the City, and we are talking about season 5 today, episodes 4, 5, and 6. Going to be so much fun. I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Jax is here.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Things are really heating up here in the
Yeah, they
second
really are.
quarter.
Yeah,
How are you doing?
this is definitely mature content episode. So if it's not your thing, don't listen to this one. but I'm really good. And we were planning some of our coverage coming up, and I for some reason didn't realize that this season was only 8 episodes.
Yeah, I didn't either. And it feels like we've been barreling through it so quickly anyway that it's like, wait, are we almost done with season 5? How? We just got done with season 4.
Yeah, and I actually watched the first episode and took notes and everything, first episode of season 6, not realizing that I thought, oh, this is episode 9. This is the finale of the season. But yeah, the reason why, according to what I read, is because Sarah Jessica Parker was pregnant. So that's why she's wearing a lot of flowy dresses in this season.
She does look great.
But I guess that's why it was only 8 episodes.
Yeah, that makes sense because it's not like it's something that you can really work around with that character of Carrie. And I also think she had so much power at that point that, obviously they can let her have a nice little maternity leave.
Yeah. You can't really have an episode of Sex and the City without Carrie.
No.
Because she is our narrator. She's the one, writing the columns and putting everything all together. Like, it would just be weird if you had an episode would say just Samantha or just Charlotte.
Yeah, you're exactly right, because everything is through her lens.
Yeah. So that's why it is only 8 episodes this season, but they do kind of make up for it because season 6 is 20 episodes. So
yes, I like that it's season 6 A and B.
Yeah. Well, the first episode we're going to talk about is called Cover Girl, and they are moving to publish Carrie's book very fast. They want to get this out. And the first cover that they show is her naked with the words of the title, The Sex in the City, covering her. And she's just kind of like, oh.
I mean, Rachel, it was so jarring because, I personally wouldn't want to be naked on a book cover, but it's not that it even looks sexy or provocative. There's something really like twisted about the way that it is presented that it seems almost it's just a little scary.
Yeah, it was a little like kind of pervy, for lack of a better word.
Yeah,
because it was all like cut and like pasted, and I don't know, like weird.
And it's like her head size and my body. It just seems so strange that they thought. I mean, sure, we get it, sex sells, but that didn't even look sexy.
Yeah, but I tell you, I could use an entire show of Amy Sedaris and Molly Shannon as publicist.
100% agree with you. We were saying in the last episode how we were hoping they would come back, and they sure as heck did.
Yeah, they are really funny and and sarcastic, and I don't know, just had great chemistry together. I would love to see something with the two of them.
I love that could be its own series. You're absolutely right. Like, that would be engaging, and they have enough similar energy yet also different that the dynamic works so well between the two of them.
Yeah. So then we have Miranda. She's feeling like she needs to lose weight, lose the baby weight. And it was kind of funny when she got the Zone, because the Zone book, because that was like a big deal around that time. My dad is not somebody who follows trends, except for when it comes to dieting. That's like the one thing that not as much now, but when I was growing up, that was something that he would get on these diet bandwagons and would just be super excited about them. They were.
I love it.
And one of them was the Zone. And so and the Zone was basically a high carb, a low carb, low carb, high protein diet.
So a lot of meat.
Yeah, a lot of meat, kind of like it was similar to South Beach, kind of a thing. Yeah. So my dad had all the Zone books and was big into the Zone. So
like, oh, I know this. Well,
and not that anybody should be taking advice from me on dieting, but I have been on a lot of diets in my life. And the thing is whether it's low carb or high carb, it's all about limiting calories in the end. If you actually like work out the diet, and it's limiting calories, and the actual the argument behind the low carb is that, well, the protein's more sustaining, it'll keep you fuller, so you won't notice that you're eating these you're eating less. That's kind of the argument behind it. But the problem with it is that it's just not sustainable. There's no diet that for 99% of the population that they are going to be able to keep doing. And so then what ends up happening is you get off the diet and then you just regain the weight back. And every time you gain weight back, it's that much harder to lose it again. And so what's better is just to eat when you're hungry and then stop when you're full, and try to have a good balance of protein, carbs, and healthy fats. If that's sort of your goal, and then the rest of your food you eat in moderation, then that's something that you can actually keep up.
Because it's
and for me, like, just when I learned about intuitive eating, it just changed everything for me. It would just finally clicked, something made sense. And I've lost a lot of weight since I started, and I've kept it off, and I still have a long way to go. I'm certainly no like fitness queen, but I don't know. It's just no diet will ever work because it's about restriction, and you're not going to, most people, 99% of people can't keep the restriction up, whatever it is, whether it's high carb, low carb, eating cabbage and all the time, whatever it is, it's all about restriction. And that's just not realistic. It's not how humans are. So that's my little spiel on dieting.
Yeah, I think that's so true, that it's like, you think about it then as this thing like, oh, I just have to get through the other side of this diet, rather than like, oh, I'm changing my lifestyle.
Yeah. And I mean, I never overeat now, never. Cause I've developed where I just don't like the feeling. I don't like how it feels. I feel sick. I feel, ugh. Even on Thanksgiving, like I just don't like the feeling of overeating and being full. So I just stop. And it sounds so crazy that something so simple, eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full. That's so simple, but I swear it has made the biggest difference for me.
I know what you're saying, that it does sound simple, but I do have to say it is one of those things that sometimes you just don't. And it's not like I eat until I'm full constantly or overeat constantly, but it's like if I'm really busy or I'm in the zone or I'm excited about something, I might, not focus on eating, might forget about it. But then there's just some times where I'm like, I'm blowing it out. And then, but I feel sick. I don't feel good. Like that's the thing that I think this intuitive eating is so spot on with, is that it's like, you're going to keep learning those lessons until you actually really learn it.
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing this for about 2 years. So it's taken a while, to kind of get out of some of those binging habits and things like that. But I just sort of realized, and it clicked with me, that I don't feel good. I feel bad. I feel sick. And in 2020, I had a heart incident where I had to go to the hospital, and it was scary. And I got put on some medicine and different things. But I've been able to go from that point in 2020 to having a complete bill of health from my doctors this year. So it's
amazing.
I mean, I hate to sound like an infomercial or something, but it worked. And for me, and it's just about, I don't restrict anything. I just have a little taste of something, and then I move on with my life, and I don't let it, because before, when I would go on a diet, it would kind of overtake everything in my life. And I had a hard time kind of keeping it in its place. And now I just sort of live my life. And
well, I think you're exactly right. Like, people fixate, right? And then
I did, at least, for
the
sure.
other side of it. Oh, I think I totally think we all do. Like, I know when I say to myself, like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym every day this week. And then it becomes like this chore. And then I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
messed up. I'm just rather than like, oh, this is something fun I can do and go for 20 minutes. There's no pressure. Like taking some of the heat off of everything, I think is really important.
Yeah. Back in 2012, I was actually training really hard. I was probably in some of the best shape of my life. And I was writing down everything I ate, which I know works for some people, but it became, again, this sort of fixation for me. And and my trainer that I had at the time, actually, I knew she meant well, but she wasn't very helpful because she would then fixate on anything that she saw as not good food. And I remember one time I swam in the Great Salt Lake for it was at least a mile. It was a good swim. And I was hungry after, and so I got Reese's cups from the vending machine because I figured, oh, it has like a little bit of protein in the peanuts. It's not too bad. and and I remember her being so frustrated with me that I had done that. And then I felt bad. And, it was just, in retrospect, I'm like, that was crazy. I had just swam like a lot. There was no problem there. Why was I beating myself up about that? That's nuts. So it's
not like you sat and ate like a chocolate cake for 20 people. Right. Like that's a snack. That's a little treat that you can have even if you were just not doing anything that day.
And that's the other thing that intuitive eating teaches you, is to remove the moral weight of food out of your life. So something's not good or bad, something's not guilty or, healthy. It's just food. You eat it and move on with your life.
I love the way you said that, because it's interesting how we do put a moral thing on it when it's like, oh my gosh, how did our brains start doing that?
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, and it's so sad because I feel like I kind of wasted that time in 2012 when I was in such good shape, not being very happy about it and frustrated and feeling like a failure. So it's like, now I got to slowly sort of build back up to that fitness level now that I'm in a mentally healthy spot.
Place. Yeah.
So anyway, not that this is a fitness podcast, but with Miranda.
Well, hey, we might start one of those. Just watch out, you guys. You never know what we're going to do.
Right. So Miranda, she decides to go to a Weight Watchers. And I'd say out of all of the fad diets, Weight Watchers is probably one of the more benign. I mean, they're basically trying to teach you to count your calories and keep track of it with their points system. I mean, I still think you kind of then look for ways to sort of cheat the system instead of eating just what you like in moderation. I don't know. I like the community aspect of it, the support aspect of it, that it's not trying to sell you any meals or food or anything like that. So it is, I think, okay, I would say.
Yeah, well, you're exactly right too. When you're talking about just like pure calorie consumption, it's just helping you track that in a way that is very systematic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast.
Escape to the Florida Emerald Coast this summer in The Beach Escape by Rachel McGee from Hallmark Publishing.
After a monumental heartbreak, Molly Lawrence is trying to start over as a traveling vet.
But Grant Torres, his charming dimples, and one stubborn loggerhead turtle named Chompers challenge the future Molly's imagined for herself.
The perfect beach read for your summer book list, The Beach Escape is a friends to lovers romance full of snorkeling, sailing, and of course, turtles.
The Beach Escape is available August 9th from Hallmark Publishing on Amazon and in stores at selected bookstores.
For more information about The Beach Escape and other titles by Rachel McGee, visit www.rachelmcgeebooks.com.
That's rachelmcgeebooks.com.
So Miranda goes there. She meets this guy at the Weight Watchers. And then we also have, let's see here. Oh, we have Charlotte going into the self-hell aisle.
A woman sobbing in the corner. That book really helped me. And it's like, oh, honey, it does not look like it.
Yeah. She's like, I'll put this away. And we get our product placement for Amazon.
Yes, we
Yeah,
do.
that was pretty early Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny to see that stuff now between like Trump and Amazon and all the things that have happened. You're like, oh, okay.
You can check out our Amazon affiliate links in the description. Please use them.
By the way.
So then Stanford is talking to Carrie, and they're trying to pick out her cover clothes for her outfit. Stanford has a new boyfriend named Marcus, and they're talking, and it says we all judge. That's our hobby. That's what we do.
Marcus is adorable.
Yeah. Yes. Then I feel like they're such a good match, Marcus and Stanford.
Yeah, they really are. And you could just tell that Stanford is just so happy to have love in his life.
Yeah. Samantha's flirting with the delivery guy, and then they become intimate, I guess you might say. Carrie walks in on them and is shocked and horrified. And Samantha then says, lighten up. It's not that big of a deal. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like that would be extremely awkward. Can you imagine?
Here's the thing about that. I actually, as much as I think, Carrie Bradshaw's the worst a lot of the times, I actually didn't think about it as being that judgmental. Like, I feel like there have been times when I know this is a little different, but when I've like been in a restroom and I've opened the door on someone going to the bathroom, like, oh my God. And like, it's not even like I'm not judging. I'm the one that screwed up, but you're suddenly face to face with a very intimate act that you shouldn't be watching. And I think that's just what happened with Carrie. I didn't feel like it was particularly judgmental the way she reacted at all. She was caught off guard.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And Carrie says, are we being too quick to judge judgment? If it's instantly clear a person, place, or profession isn't for you, then is it okay to judge a book by the cover? And this kind of goes back to How I Met Your Mother with Barney and the lemon law. Do you remember the lemon law?
Yeah, remind me of that.
Okay, so the lemon law is basically that if you know that you are not a fit for a date, then you have, I think it's 10 minutes or 20 minutes or something like that. You're in, you're out, you're done, move on with your day. And Robin is kind of horrified by that. She's like, how can you know? You need to spend time with the person. And he's like, no, sometimes. And so he ends up setting Robin up with this Star Trek geek guy. And and he's like, you can leave now, the lemon law. He's like, no. But I do think there is something to that. I mean, especially when you're talking about dating, because dating, it's more of a commitment. Whereas like I can have friends that I of all different personalities and interests and everything like that. But when I'm talking about somebody that I'm dating, I think it is a higher standard.
Yeah, I understand that.
Just like an associate.
Yeah. And if you're not attracted to them and you're not really having friend chemistry with them, someone that you're potentially dating, I think it is kind of difficult.
And I do think pretty quickly. There's just like chemistry. Is it there? I don't know, about 10 minutes, but maybe. Yeah.
I think, like, I'm not saying that you can fall in love in 10 minutes or like that someone can grow on you, but I think, if it's like, oh no.
Yeah. I forget what book Charlotte buys. I forgot to write that down, but she on Amazon, she buys a book. And then she gets so upset, she throws it out the window and it lands in front of a woman. And she's like, it was from God.
Thank you, Lord.
That was funny. So Miranda is going out with this Weight Watchers guy, but they both love Krispy Kreme donuts. And the problem is that the other Weight Watchers place is next to Krispy Kreme, which was very bad placement.
I want to just advocate on behalf of Krispy Kreme here. If you get just the plain glazed donut at Krispy Kreme, it is only 200 calories, which for a treat is not that much.
Yeah.
It's actually not that ridiculous. I know it seems super decadent, but it's actually not.
Well, that's the thing about intuitive eating is that You're not fixating on like the calories or things. You're thinking about your overall diet and how food makes you feel. And you know what's really random? So I don't go to Krispy Kreme often. I've probably been 3 or 4 times in the last 2 years. But the last 3 times I've been there, they've given me my donuts for free.
What?
Isn't that so weird?
Oh, wait, how so? Like they were just like here you go.
Yeah, they're like, it's on us.
Okay, Krispy Kreme. They should sponsor the podcast.
Yeah. I'm like, what? Isn't that funny?
That's amazing.
They're just like me. I don't know.
They were giving out donuts for a while for being vaccinated.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they just like you.
I think so. Maybe they have a crush on me and I don't know it.
You're like,
I should keep going. I guess you could say Miranda's guy, this Weight Watchers guy, is a little bit overzealous in the set.
Okay, I actually thought this guy was really cute, and I would thought his personality was pretty adorable.
But yeah, that's a problem for Miranda, and all of the girls seem disgusted with this.
I don't think it's gross.
I don't know why she can just say like, I don't know. I guess she did eventually say like, here's Kleenex, and he was grossed out by that. So I don't know. You have to be able to be somewhat accommodating, I would think, with your partner.
Well, and
I don't like something.
I think that my opinion is that he should be cool with it, that she doesn't want it. However, I don't think it's weird that he did it because he's trying to show her that he doesn't think anything of being downtown on her and then kissing. Like, I think it would almost be weirder if he had like wiped his mouth off, like it was something disgusting.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But if she asks for him to do it, I think he should be like, oh yeah, of course, that's no problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So then Carrie is wearing this pink fluffy lingerie outfit thing that's terrible, and of course Samantha says she has it in red. That made me laugh,
and I believe it.
Yeah. I believe it. Chambers says Marcus is not very modern, and he says you and I have very different ideas about what is sexy. With that, she says that to Charlotte actually, and they give this judgmental look, and yeah, that is a thing. We've all felt it. The judgmental look.
Yeah, we felt them. We've probably given them.
Yeah. And so Miranda's guy leaves, and now she has to go to the Weight Watchers by the Krispy Kreme. But she says she never wanted a Krispy Kreme glazed donut again. But I think with Krispy Kreme, because to me, Krispy Kreme donuts are an entirely different entity than like regular donuts. They're just everything about them, like how thin they are, and just, I don't know, they're just totally different to me than other donuts. And the only way to get a Krispy Kreme is to get them when they're hot. Yeah, look for the sign, bright, hot. That is.
Are you a Krispy Kreme purist that you just like the actual like glazed one, or do you like filled ones, or what's your?
No, I think you got to have the original, because that's the only ones that are hot. Yeah, definitely. I mean, other kinds of donuts, not Krispy Kreme, I like filled, and I like with toppings, or I like a cake donut. But for Krispy Kreme, gotta get the hot glazed. It's the best. So Samantha says that that their relationship is perfect, and Carrie apologizes for judging her. And and she says, you were so good to me during the big married affair. And the thing, I guess, that makes this sort of awkward is that how strained the relationship was in real life. So it just kind of makes it bittersweet, at least to me.
Yeah, I think that watching this season, especially this string of episodes where there's some conflict with Samantha, it's very easy to go there and think like, was this when things were really percolating between them? Because we don't really know the full story of when things went south.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw that recent interview that SJP did, where she was talking about how it just makes her really sad, and that everybody thinks that she's this kind of mean person, and that she never saw it as like this, I think, feud. I forget her exact words, but that she feels like she's never been a part of some kind of feud, and it just, the whole thing makes her sad. And so I'll try to find that article, but yeah, it's kind of bittersweet. And so then they end up, how Samantha helps her with the photo shoot in the end. And like we said, SGP was pregnant during the season, but I did like her red dress with, like, she has like a big brooch on. I thought that was a good look for her.
Yeah, I did too. I just think the fashion on this season is elevated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And so this episode, I think, was pretty good. I don't love Kim Cattrall's Samantha's hair in this season. It looks a little mullety to me. I don't love it.
Yeah. And it does. Yeah. It's a surprising choice for her character.
Yeah. Just personal preference. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't like how it kind of layers down. It just looks a little mullety to me. But what would you give this episode?
I would give this one a 7.5.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think that's good. There was that whole book from the heavens made me laugh really hard. I thought that was very funny.
Hey, this is Jen Johans, host of the podcast Watch with Jen, which delivers a steady stream of great movie recommendations, thoughtful career deep dives, and first-rate conversations with film critics, authors, actors, journalists, filmmakers, and more. You can find Watch with Jen wherever you get your podcasts, or hear us first at our Patreon at patreon.com/filmintuition.
The next one is called +1 is the loneliest number. And this is a pretty iconic episode, would you say?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So this is Carrie's big book release party, and it's a big deal. And she's kind of struggling because she doesn't have a +1. And we get to meet Berger in this episode.
Oh, this meet cute. I always forget how bad Berger gets because it starts so good.
I know. And he's so charming. Ron Livingston. Oh, I mean, have you ever seen Office Space?
Yes.
Oh, it's one of my favorites. I absolutely love it. And he's so funny in that movie. And so he's great in this.
He's very handsome.
Yeah, he is. He's very handsome, but like in a believable way. You know what I mean? Like, he's not like a supermodel.
Yes.
Just
100%.
Yeah. So they have to meet cute. They end up eating McDonald's. So we have you been noticing more product placement this season?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. There's been a lot, and there are continue to be, as I watched. I'm already up. Like I said, I finished into season 6. So there's this whole thing about the deck of cards all over New York City. Have you heard of this?
So actually, no, I didn't know what this was.
Yeah, I never heard of it either. And I like when he's like, who orders strawberry shakes after the age of 11? And that would have been like a huge shake. Nobody gets those big of shakes from McDonald's.
She was sucking it down.
I don't like McDonald's shakes because, I mean, the McFlurry's okay, but I don't really like McDonald's shakes because they're too thin.
So I just love milkshakes. Thick, thin, sprinkles in them, like whipped cream on top. Like Mama loves milkshakes.
To me, the ideal milkshake is Steak and Shake in the Midwest. I so wish they had one here in Utah, but maybe it's better that they don't. But that, like, it has the perfect consistency between thick that you need a spoon, that's too thick, and thin that you can just easy with a straw, that's like a liquid. You want it that consistency of almost a smoothie consistency, yes. But with a milkshake. And that's what they do at Steak and Shake. Oh, it's the best. And to me,
the fries too.
What's that?
They have good fries at Steak and Shake.
Yeah, I think they're like thin fries. But what I love is Steak and Shake. This is all a tangent episode. Is they have the Cincinnati chili. that you get it's like spaghetti, and then they put chili on top with cheese. You get it with a steak, a sippable. They call them sippable sundaes. Oh, so good.
I am so hungry now. I want cream milkshakes, French fries.
But I do think strawberry milkshakes is like the lowest on the Neapolitan thing. You've got probably vanilla, chocolate, strawberry.
Completely agreed. I love a vanilla shake. I love a coffee flavored shake.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I want one so bad.
Although I have been thinking, because Wendy's has been having this strawberry frosty, so I've been thinking about going checking that out. But
if you do, let us know, because
okay.
I don't think I'm into it. So
maybe I'll put it on my Insta story.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, but so he's finding if he's trying to find a full deck of cards. I guess they're all over the city, and then Carrie asks him to be her +1, but he has a girlfriend. And this is the thing that, I mean, I guess you wouldn't have a wedding ring because you're just a girlfriend, but it can be hard as single women to know if somebody's available or not, especially if it's on social media, and then you can feel stupid by the fact that you thought someone was single. It's happened to me a number of times where I think someone's single. I kind of approach like, should we go, could we go out, do something, whatever. And then I find out, oh, they're not single. And so definitely, if you are married, men out there, wear your wedding ring. We need to know. It's our symbol. We need to know. Even if things aren't going well, wear your wedding ring. Don't you agree?
Oh, totally. And I think that what makes this complicated, where I actually definitely don't blame Berger, is that say you're at a bar or you're at some random, like you're in the park or you're in line for coffee and you meet someone and it's this like connection and you start chatting. I think it's easier to bring up a girlfriend then because you're like, oh, are they connecting with me? But in this case, it was sort of a networking thing, right? Like it wasn't, but it was. Yeah. So I think to bring up the girlfriend right away, I don't know. It might have not felt very natural. So I don't blame him for not working it into the conversation sooner.
I mean, at least he didn't accept the date, or he stopped it right there. So that was good. Where if he'd kept it the one stage later, then that's scummy. But totally. Yeah, at least he did that. But I've been there where I thought someone was single and they weren't, and it's awkward.
How do you backpedal out of that?
I don't know. I usually, like, the last time this happened to me, it was online. And I had asked somebody out, and it turned out he was married. I didn't know. He didn't post.
Oh, fully married.
Fully married. I had no idea. He didn't post pictures of his wife or kids or anything. I'm not like a creep. And so I don't know. I just said something like, oh, well, maybe next time or whatever, or we can get together or in a group, or I don't know what I said, but something.
Let me know if you get divorced.
Yeah. But I do always look for the wedding ring. So, and I know that some married men are like, oh, I don't want to wear my wedding ring. Wear your wedding ring.
Do us a solid, please.
Please. Yes. And I do think it's very true what Carrie's saying here. She says, in New York, you were always looking for a job, a boyfriend, and an apartment. And not just in New York, I think everywhere. And she says, if you have 2 out of 3, why does it feel like you have nothing? And that is extremely true. And I think that the reason why, particularly if you don't have a boyfriend or a partner, is that that's the one thing that you can't really control that much. Like you can't make that happen. I can't say next year I'm going to be married. Like that's just not the way the world works. And because another person is involved. And whereas the other 2 you can control and you can make happen, through your, hard work, and you can set a goal and you can do it. And so at least to me, I think that third one, it just leaves me feeling frustrated and why does it seem so easy for other people? They can get married 4 or 5 times and I can't even find anybody to go on a date with,
I was reading online, like Kaylee Kuko, people were like, someone give me what this girl has, because she can just,
Right.
she just keep skating through them. And I have no judgment for her doing that either, but some people were saying it really funny and good natured, and it was making me laugh.
Yeah. So I think that's why that one is frustrating, because at least for someone like me that likes to kind of control things and make things happen, it feels like it's so out of control.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that is a thing about the 2/3. So Samantha is getting Botox and some other things, and she decides to get this chemical peel
It was
from
so
this
good.
doctor.
It was so funny.
Have you ever gotten a chemical peel?
I've not gotten a chemical peel, but I have gotten Botox, and
Oh,
I
yeah?
love it. But I would never, when he was talking to her about the chemical peel, I was just like, oh no, because people, before I got Botox, I thought, oh, it's so like serious, whatever.
Uh-huh.
I've only gotten one facial in my life, and that felt more intense than Botox. Like the chemical peel, no. I mean, even if it goes well, your skin looks so raw. I'm sure it's worth it later on, but you can't really do anything for a while after it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have gotten one chemical peel. This was years ago, probably 10 years ago. And it stung like a little bit. It's certainly nothing like Samantha.
You didn't look like Samantha?
No. I've never gotten Botox. But
your skin looks great though.
Oh,
Maybe it's the chemical peel from a few years ago.
I have gotten some laser hair removal. So I've been to doctors like that before, and man, they make it sound like the laser hair removal is like super easy, and just it is so painful. One of the most painful things I've ever done. Yeah, I mean, and it actually isn't as permanent as they make sound. Like it comes back fairly quickly. So I don't know, not worth it to me, in my opinion.
Okay, can we just circle back to the chemical peel? When you were done with it, like, were you red? Like,
Yeah.
What? Okay,
I was a little red, like a little, I would say it looked more sort of puffy than like, whereas she looked like she had been outright burned. It looked like 3rd-degree burns on her face.
And watching when she was taking off the veil, I mean, it was just all so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and then, so she comes to the party with a full-on veil. That was really funny.
Yes, I kind of admire her for showing up and being there for her friend and trying to figure out a way around it.
Mm-hmm. So then Carrie runs into Enid at a restaurant. They're both eating dinner alone, and she says, well, why don't we eat together? And Enid says, well, I can expense it then.
Yeah, it's like you could tell she does not want to.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like how they end up confiding in each other.
Yeah, yeah. And then Bunny shows up at Charlotte's apartment claiming, this is my apartment, it's not your apartment. And Charlotte's like, no, that he gave this to me, it's my apartment. So then things get tougher as far as the litigation goes.
Bunny is so nasty.
Mm-hmm. And she's upset because Charlotte's with another man. And
I cannot believe that Bunny has everyone in the co-op spying on Charlotte. It's just awful.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we have her big party. And I think Carrie's outfit is very iconic. This pink and black dress with spaghetti straps on it and kind of black lace.
Yeah, she looks amazing.
Very memorable. And then Isaac Mizrahi is there. And he was like on Project Runway and a bunch of stuff in the 2000s. I don't feel like you see him as much anymore. Yeah.
No.
He was there, and he's claiming books are back. Books are back, baby.
The back.
And Carrie says, I can have my cake and eat it too. So this party goes pretty well, I would say.
Yeah, what turnout.
Yeah, good turnout. But then Carrie says, I'm lonely, and the loneliness in the room is palpable. So yeah, you can be in a big full room and feel even more alone than being by yourself.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think sometimes it's even more pronounced because you're like, I shouldn't feel lonely, but I do.
Mhm. And then Stanford and Anthony get into a big fight, which is always fun.
Really cute.
Mm-hmm. We'd like to take a second from this episode of the podcast to celebrate our sponsor of this episode, and that is the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast?
Do you want an inside scoop into what happens on the podcast?
Do you want early access to episodes and loads of cool perks?
Now is the time to become a patron of Hallmarkies Podcast.
By becoming a patron, you get to access our patron Facebook group.
You can request episodes or even be a guest on the podcast.
And most importantly, any patron can join our monthly movie watch-alongs with stars like Paul Campbell, Natalie Hall, and more.
It's as low as $2 a month to join in and become a special part of the Hallmarkies family.
Please consider, and we will love you forever.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
Then they go to Grace Papaya and get with the cab lady in the cab and get a free hot dog.
This made me cry how much this woman was cheering her on.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I've had that happen in New York sometimes where support comes from unexpected sources.
Yeah.
And I think it really rocked Carrie that Berger came and they had what was sort of an awkward interaction that made her feel, like you said, even lonelier.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, Grace Papaya is classic. It's so good.
Oh my gosh, their fountain soda is the best at Grace. I used to live right by the one on 72nd that they go to this episode, and I would just always go in and get like a Coca-Cola, and it's the best Coca-Cola.
Did you get the papaya juice?
I have had
never
it once.
thought of that, papaya juice and hot dogs, but I swear they dip those hot dogs in butter because they're so good. And I think there's only one now, which is sad.
And I mean, it's cheap, so that's good in
Yeah,
New York.
it's only $1, I think.
Yeah.
For a hot dog. So you get hot dog, get your papaya juice. That's a good day.
Walk around the city.
Yes. All right. This is a pretty good episode, I think. I don't know. It's a 9. What do you think?
Yeah, this one's
9.
great.
Yes. All right. Last episode is called Critical Condition. And this is the episode where we have Miranda is about to lose it. She's not sleeping, getting so stressed out. And then Carrie gets worried about this woman, Nina, who dated Aiden after her. And she's also the head talent booking for Silent Live. So she meets this Nina woman in the bathroom from the
That's an awkward interaction.
Yeah. And Carrie says that she gave a full frontal attack of the face. So she gave her this like kind of weird look.
Face girl.
I thought that Charlotte had the weirdest top on in this scene. It's like this white, fluffy. It looked almost like a bib to me. Like she was gonna like bat her face with it.
I'm not sure what she was going for there.
No, it was so weird. And Samantha is all talking about how she's going getting her hair done, she's going to get her nails done, and all this stuff, and it just makes Miranda more and more upset.
Yeah, I mean, Samantha's talking about what a packed day she has with all of her beauty treatments, and Miranda can't even find time to wash her hair.
Yeah, and they did do a good job making her look pretty.
That hair was
haggard.
looking pretty streaky. Yeah, it was haggard. So
yeah, we forgot to talk about in the last episode that Miranda goes out with this guy named Walker and she doesn't tell him she has a kid. So that whole thing happens.
she was really, really trying to get some adult sexy time, and it just did not work.
Yeah. And I think Carrie makes an interesting point when she says, why do we only believe the negative things people say about us? And why do we believe our worst reviews? And this is very true. And when I was going through a hard time in my life. I went to this, I had this boss who I just hated, and she hated me, and we made life miserable for each other. And I went to this seminar, and one of the things they had you do is they had you write down the people that were important to you in your life, right? And then write down the people that caused you the most stress and worry. And it was so interesting because on my list, the people I actually cared about were not the people that were causing me the most stress. And obviously different situations will be different, but how we let these negative people, like, for instance, I would let something this woman, Tanya, would say about me bother me all day. But then I would talk to my dad, someone I actually admire and care about. He would say positive things about me, and I would just dismiss them as if, oh, he's just saying that to be nice. Why do I dismiss the positive people that I actually care about and love? And yet I put all of this emotional intensity into somebody I don't even care about and that I don't respect or like, and that was such an eye-opening thing to me, to see these lists and see they're so different. And why was I letting these toxic people that I don't like, don't care about, live in my brain rent free? It was a very eye-opening for me.
That's so true that I've heard, and of course this could just be like anecdotal, but that for every like one negative thing we hear about ourselves, we need to hear like 10 positive things.
Yeah.
And I can see that.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, and you think about even with like reviews of the podcast, you'll have 10 that are like glowing. We love it so much. And then you get one that's pretty harsh, and the harsh ones tend to be harsh. But why is that human nature to be like, oh, well, the other 10, they were just being nice. But the one person who didn't like it is like, oh, that's actually the honest one.
Yeah, they were right. Everybody else just being nice.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it comes down to also sort of imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
That we all sometimes feel, whatever it is that we're doing. Like I definitely feel it on times that, have an interview or something like that. And I'm like, I'm not a professional journalist. I don't know what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. And
I mean, you are though at this point.
Like I remember when I interviewed Andrea Canning, that was a big moment for me because she's like a legit journalist. She's on Dateline. Like I can't interview her. Like what? But she was amazing and super nice, and it worked out. But your mind plays those imposter tricks on you.
Yeah. And it's interesting with Carrie because she's really spinning out and fixating over this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's weird because it's not even like a review of her book or anything like that. It's the review it's really Aiden's review that she's frustrated because this Nina person doesn't even know her. All she knows is Aiden's review of her. And so basically that's kind of what she's stressing out over Aiden's opinion about her through this Nina woman.
Yeah.
So, and then they go to Samantha and Carrie go to City Bakery. I think they maybe have been before, but I feel like this is the first time they've named it. This is City Bakery.
Yeah. I love it there. I haven't been in a long time, but I love it.
Yeah. Evidently the brownies are really good.
I love that Carrie's like insisting on buying Samantha the brownies so Samantha will be nice to Miranda about Brady.
Yeah. And then that Carrie says, we're not talking about people, we're talking about our friend, and she's thinking. So that's talking about Miranda. Because that time when you're in the post, it's almost like even harder than the newborn phase, especially because usually newborn phase, people are get maternal leave and things like that. But that like next phase of like 6 months to 2 years is rough.
And that's when the baby's like really like acting out more. There's a lot more going on.
The teething. They've got I don't know, just problems sometimes with their bellies, digesting food. It can be very, very stressful, and you want to help, but they just keep screaming and screaming and screaming, and there's like nothing you can do.
And then your neighbors here and get mad.
Yes, and so Miranda's neighbors get upset, and the one that has a baby of her own comes by, and she's like, "Can you stop that baby from crying?" And so then she brings over the vibrating chair, which is the
That was a sweet
lifesaver.
moment.
We also have Samantha trying to return her vibrator to the Sharper Image. They don't sell vibrators; they sell neck massagers.
Which
It's really funny.
use what you got, you know? I love when she was holding court in there being like, oh no, that one will do this. That one's bad for that.
Yeah. She's like the expert.
Yeah, sure is. And all the women are just looking at her like she's God's gift to vibrators.
Yeah. And so she's able to, so Samantha comes over to Miranda's and says, hey, you get to keep this appointment. You get to go get your hair done and everything.
Really sweet.
And so then she uses the vibrator to help with the chair because it's not working. But yeah, those chairs do work. Babies love those chairs.
I can imagine why. I love sitting in a massage chair. And Brady's little tiny adorable face with those cheeks and big blue eyes.
Very cute.
I'll hold him. He's so cute.
Yeah. Really
good
cute.
on set baby he looks like too. He looks like
yeah.
You can sometimes tell when you're watching a baby in a TV show or a movie whether or not that was like an easy go. And I feel like he looks like he's a pretty easy baby to have on set.
Yeah. So first Charlotte has this sort of dreamy lawyer that she thinks is very attractive. And then she can't like get anything done and be like her hard self, like hard on Bunny with this attractive lawyer. So then Harry comes in and she's like, I want him to be my lawyer. And I love Harry so much.
Oh my gosh, same.
I finished off the season. And so I watched ahead and I just love him even more than I remembered. He is so charming.
Even that first meet cute, even though he's supposed to be like unappealing, shoving the bagel in his mouth, you're just like, what is it about this man?
Yeah.
It's the confidence,
It is the confidence. It's the confidence. And it's also, it is very attractive how into Charlotte he is. And just, I don't know, there's just something about him that's funny and sweet and very, very charming.
He's got it going on.
Yeah, he really does. I loved him so much. He's probably my favorite of any of the guys.
Yeah, he really is and I think that you see like that makes sense that marriage has worked.
Yeah, it really does. And it's amazing how quickly they become committed and basically start talking about getting married very quickly. Like Charlotte learns that he'd only marry a Jewish woman, and that's immediately important to her because they just immediately get on that we want to get married track.
Yeah,
which was charming too.
Oh my gosh, love them together.
So then Stanford goes shopping with Carrie, and Carrie talks more and more about Aiden and Nina. And so Stanford asks, what do you think about Marcus? And she says, oh, he's nice. And then he finally, I've had it with you. I've heard about Aiden for literally 2 years. And I ask you about my boyfriend, Marcus, and I get nice. So yeah, he's absolutely right. And he probably should have said so much sooner.
This was another Carrie Bradshaw's the worst moment. I mean,
yeah,
gets a rave review and she's calling Miranda to complain about stuff. Then she's like, talking to Stanford about everything and not listening to what he wants to say about Marcus. It's like, Carrie, the world does not revolve around you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then they meet Nina and she's hanging out with Heather Graham. And do you get the feeling that Heather Graham was just like, I want to be in Sex and the City? It's kind of like, what's his name? I can't do the James Bond guy, Daniel, what's his last name?
Oh, Daniel Craig?
Craig, yeah, Daniel Craig. That he was a stormtrooper in Star Wars.
100%.
This kind of felt like the same kind of thing. Like, I just want to be in Star Wars. Put me in there.
Man. And Heather Graham's in at the end, playing herself.
Yeah.
Adorable as all get out. I thought it was so cute.
but she has like no plot or story. It
No.
was just like, oh, she's Heather Graham. Here she is.
It was so funny. And when Sanford's like, I didn't know what to say to Heather Graham. What do I talk to?
Right. She's tall. I didn't
Really
realize how tall she is.
She got
But,
so sick at the pretzel. I just want to give her a big old hug.
And Carrie says that the critic I was most afraid of was me. But I think actually that's not true. I think the critic she's most afraid of is Aiden.
I agree. I think she is as much as I want to dismiss some stuff that Carrie does and tell her to like get over herself, I think she does just know that she did put Aiden through the ringer, and that bad review is justified.
Yep. And she says someone somewhere could be making a face about you. But the truth is that people think about us a lot less than we think they do.
Yeah.
Most people are busy with their lives, and they he might have like a passing moment where he thinks about Carrie here and there, something like that. But I think that we think we're being judged more than we are. We think people are thinking about us more than they are. People are, later on, Carrie has like a big zit. Nobody cares about Carrie's zit. We just think that people are noticing these things, paying attention to these things, but actually they probably aren't. Yeah. So there we go. This is a pretty good episode, I think. Pretty funny, pretty good relationship buildings. And so I don't know, what would you give it?
I really, really like it because we meet Harry. I might give it another 9 because of like we meet Berger and then we meet Harry. And I think that these are really pivotal episodes to like take us where we need to go.
Yeah. And the New York Times lady gave her book a positive review. Yeah. But she had one line in there that Carrie didn't like.
Oh yeah,
because
what
it was.
Said, where I think women are
the men are disposable.
And she said, does Aiden think that I think that he's disposable? And she gets so upset.
Yeah.
And I get it why she's so upset, but it's like, I do think that is how Carrie frames her columns.
Well, and it's weird though, because I wonder how in her column does she talk that much about dating versus dating in these. It seems like she talks a lot more about Big than she does about Aiden.
Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't even give Aiden a nickname.
No.
So and we see once coming up once Big starts reading her book and how that happens, which is really funny.
So much stuff.
Yeah. But I agree. And I think this one's really solid. People are saying they hate season 5. I disagree. I think there's been some good stuff.
Yeah, I think it's really solid.
So Jax, where can people find you?
At Jacqueline C Tweets on Twitter and Jacqueline Collier on Instagram.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. And make sure you're following us on Twitter at City Girls Pod. Try to post anything that I see that's Sex and the City or and just like that related. So definitely make sure you're following us on there. And make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod, Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We really, really, really appreciate it. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate all the support that we have gotten. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, the City Girls Pod won the week for Hallmarkies Podcast. We had the most listens of any show, which is crazy exciting. So thank you so much for embracing the show. We really, really appreciate it. And yeah, let us know what you think about these episodes, what you would give them, and check out the Patreon group and merch store. We have lots of good stuff going on there, including City Girls Pod merch. So please take a look at that. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.